Dr. Sarah Chen stood at Europa Station's observation deck, watching Jupiter's swirling storms paint shadows across the icy surface below. After 15 years of studying the Moon's subsurface ocean, she thought she'd seen everything these waters could offer. She was wrong. The alien ship had crashed through Europa's ice 3 days ago, its quantum wake creating patterns in the crystalline surface that defied known physics. Now, as she watched the rescue operation through the reinforced windows, she couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't an accident. The vessel had chosen this place, chosen Earth's backyard, for a reason. Dr. Chen, they're ready for you in Chamber 3. Lieutenant James Rodriguez's voice crackled through her comm unit. As Europa Station's head xenobiologist, she'd been preparing for first contact her entire career. She just never expected it to happen here, beneath miles of ice on a frozen moon. The journey to Chamber 3 took her through Europa Station's newer sections, where the walls still gleamed with that perfect white sheen of fresh nano-coating. The station had expanded rapidly after they discovered complex organic molecules in Europa's ocean. Now it served as humanity's most advanced deep space research facility, and apparently their first alien embassy. Inside Chamber 3, the rescue team had managed to stabilize their unexpected guest. The alien lay on a modified medical bed, its crystalline exoskeleton refracting light in ways that made Sarah's eyes hurt if she looked too long. Captain Maya Patel, the station's commander, stood next to the bed, her dark features tense with concentration. "It's asking for you specifically, Dr. Chen," Maya said, gesturing to the translator interface they'd hastily assembled. "Something about your research into quantum biology." Sarah approached carefully. The alien's form seemed to shift and change, like watching smoke underwater. Its external structure wasn't just crystalline. It was a living quantum matrix, something she'd theorized about, but never expected to actually encounter. "I am Nexus 9 Quantum Flow." The alien's thoughts appeared as text on the translator's screen. "Your species has been chosen, though perhaps drafted would be more accurate." Sarah exchanged glances with Maya. "Chosen for what?" "To serve as the final barrier. Your solar system sits at a crucial junction point in spacetime. We've been watching how you've developed, how you approach problems differently than other species." The alien's crystalline structure pulsed with each translated word. "You don't follow expected patterns. You combine art with science, intuition with logic. You're unpredictable." "I'm not sure I understand," Sarah said, though a creeping suspicion was forming in her mind. "Why is unpredictability so important?" "Because the pattern eaters are coming." The alien's form briefly destabilized, crystals clicking against each other in what Sarah interpreted as distress. They consumed civilizations that follow predictable paths of development. "My people, the Quantum Collective, have fought them for millennia. But we're too logical, too predictable. Every defense we create, they eventually adapt to and overcome." Maya stepped forward, her military training evident in her stance. "And you think we can help? Earth hasn't even achieved faster than light travel yet." The alien's response came faster this time, more urgent. "But you're close. Your quantum biology research, Dr. Chen. Your theories about consciousness affecting quantum states. They're the beginning. You're approaching FTL travel from an angle no other species has tried, through the lens of consciousness itself." Sarah's mind raced. Her work had been considered fringe by many in the scientific community. The idea that consciousness could directly influence quantum states at a macro level seemed impossible. Yet here was living proof that it wasn't just possible, it was crucial. "The pattern eaters have consumed 12 galaxies," the alien continued. "They're approaching the Milky Way. Most species follow a linear path of technological development. But humans, you still use projectile weapons alongside quantum computers. You create art that defies mathematical prediction. You compose music that combines perfect mathematical patterns with deliberate chaos. How long do we have?" Maya asked, her voice steadied despite the weight of the revelation. 20 Earth years, perhaps less. We've prepared caches of technology for you, hidden throughout your solar system. But we couldn't give them to you directly. Your development had to remain unpredictable. Now, with first contact established, we can guide you to them." Sarah watched as holographic displays emerged from the alien's crystalline structure, showing locations throughout the solar system. Ancient artifacts waiting to be discovered, their very presence violating dozens of scientific principles she thought were immutable. "Why tell us now?" she asked. "Why not wait until we found these caches naturally?" "Because we're losing." The alien's form flickered. "The pattern eaters adapted faster than we predicted. They've developed new consumption methods. We need humanity's chaos, your ability to make intuitive leaps that defy logic. You'll find technology in those caches, yes, but how you use it, that must come from you. Your species' greatest strength is seeing patterns where none exist and breaking patterns that seem unbreakable." Maya's hand moved to her command tablet, already drafting emergency protocols. "I'll need to contact Earth Command immediately. This changes everything." "No," the alien's text flashed red. "It changes nothing. You must continue as you are, making choices that defy prediction. The pattern eaters can sense large-scale changes in civilization patterns. Your response must appear natural, driven by human curiosity and determination rather than external knowledge." Sarah understood then why the alien had crashed here, on Europa, where her quantum biology research was pushing the boundaries of known science. They weren't just being mourned, they were being tested. How humanity responded to this knowledge would determine everything. "We'll need to keep this quiet," she said, looking at Maya. "Continue our research as if we're merely exploring new discoveries rather than following an alien warning. Let humanity's natural curiosity and innovation drive our response." The alien's crystalline structure stabilized slightly. "Yes, you understand. Your species must remain the chaos factor in the equation, the variable that cannot be solved for. You are humanity's first contact specialist, Dr. Chen. How do you think your people will respond to this challenge?" Sarah thought about human history, about how her species had faced extinction-level threats before and survived through a combination of innovation, determination, and what often looked like sheer stubbornness. "We'll do what we always do," she said, a slight smile forming. "We'll break all the rules, ignore half the warnings, and probably solve the problem in a way that gives everyone else a headache. After all, that's what makes us human." 6 months after the Europa incident, Dr. Sarah Chen found herself in an underground facility beneath the Atacama Desert, staring at what could either be humanity's greatest achievement or its most spectacular failure. Project Prometheus had been fast-tracked after the alien warning, but not in the way anyone expected. The experimental ship before her looked wrong in all the right ways. Its hull rippled with neural reactive metals, the surface constantly shifting like the surface of a soap bubble. Most alien species had abandoned biological integration centuries ago, considering it too unpredictable. Humanity, in typical fashion, had decided that unpredictability was exactly what they needed. "The neural interface is ready for the first full integration test," Dr. Raj Patel announced, his excitement barely contained. As the project's lead quantum engineer, he'd been instrumental in combining Sarah's biological research with emerging quantum technology. "Though I still think you're crazy for volunteering to be the first pilot." Sarah checked her neural interface suit, its surface covered in quantum-sensitive nodes. "Who better? I understand the theoretical framework better than anyone. Besides, someone has to prove this actually works." The ship, officially designated QNS Heisenberg, represented everything the pattern eaters wouldn't expect. Instead of pursuing traditional faster-than-light travel, humanity had taken a sideways approach. If consciousness could affect quantum states as Sarah's research suggested, why not build a ship that used that influence deliberately? "Integration chamber is prepped," Captain Maya Patel's voice came through the comm. After the Europa incident, she'd been reassigned to oversee the project's security. Final checks complete. We're ready when you are, Dr. Chen. Sarah stepped into the integration chamber, her heart racing despite her calm exterior. The neural interface suit connected to the ship's systems through quantum entanglement, allowing her consciousness to directly influence the ship's quantum state. In theory, it would allow for instantaneous travel through space by essentially thinking the ship to its destination. Beginning neural sync in 3, 2, 1. The world dissolved into quantum possibility. Sarah felt her consciousness expand, merging with the ship's systems. The Heisenberg wasn't just a vessel, it was an extension of human thought, a physical manifestation of imagination and possibility. Through the quantum link, she could sense everything. The desert above them, the Earth's magnetic field, the subtle quantum fluctuations of spacetime itself. The ship's systems interpreted her thoughts in real time, turning abstract concepts into physical reality. Neural sync stable. Raj's voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. Quantum field integrity at 98%. This is actually working. Sarah focused her thoughts, imagining the ship lifting off. The Heisenberg responded instantly, its quantum drive interpreting her intent and translating it into action. The vessel rose smoothly through the underground facility's massive doors, emerging into the Atacama's night sky. All monitoring stations report nominal readings, Maya announced. Though they're having trouble getting consistent measurements, the ship's quantum state keeps shifting. That's the point, Sarah replied, her voice carrying an echo of the ship's quantum resonance. The pattern eaters adapt to consistent behaviors. But how do you adapt to something that exists in a state of quantum uncertainty? She pushed her awareness further, letting the ship's sensors extend her perception into space. The quantum catches the alien had mentioned were out there, waiting to be found. But humanity would discover them their own way, incorporating the ancient technology into their unique approach to space travel. Testing FTL capability, Sarah announced. Though faster than light isn't really accurate. We're not moving through space. We're deciding where in space we want to be. The Heisenberg's quantum drive hummed with possibility. Sarah focused on a point near Jupiter, thinking not in terms of coordinates, but in terms of intent and desire. Space bent around the ship, probability waves collapsing into certainty. Warning alarms blared. Quantum fluctuation detected. Raj shouted. Something's interfering with the probability field. Sarah felt it through the neural link. Another consciousness, vast and alien, brushing against the ship's quantum field. For a moment, she sensed what could only be a pattern eater scout, its existence a void in the quantum fabric of space. Without thinking, she reacted instinctively, letting her human imagination drive the ship's response. The Heisenberg's quantum state shifted chaotically, moving through possibilities faster than any logical system could predict. Art, music, poetry. She threw everything human at the void, creating quantum noise that defied pattern recognition. The alien presence recoiled, unable to process the chaos of human consciousness expressed through quantum mechanics. In that moment, Sarah understood why the quantum collective had chosen humanity. Their ships, their weapons, their entire approach to space travel was based on mathematical certainty, but the Heisenberg operated on human intuition, on the ability to make imaginative leaps that no algorithm could anticipate. Did everyone else see that? She asked, guiding the ship back to Earth. If by that you mean the impossible readings from every sensor we have, then yes, Raj replied. The quantum fluctuations matched what the Europa visitor described. We just encountered our first pattern eater, and we confused it. Maya's voice was tense with excitement. How soon can we replicate this technology? The world's governments will want a fleet as soon as possible. That's just it, Sarah said, understanding dawning as she maintained the neural link. We can't mass-produce these ships, not in the traditional sense. Each one needs to be unique, paired with a pilot whose consciousness shapes its quantum state. No two ships will ever behave the same way. Because standardization creates patterns, Raj finished. and patterns are what the enemy exploits. The Heisenberg settled back into its underground berth, its hull still rippling with quantum possibility. Sarah began the neural disconnection sequence, her mind racing with implications. They had proven the concept worked, but more importantly, they had confirmed humanity's role in the coming conflict. They would build more ships, each one a unique expression of human consciousness and creativity. But unlike traditional fleets, these vessels would be extensions of human unpredictability, each one operating according to the unique quantum signature of its pilot's mind. The pattern eaters were coming, expecting to find civilizations bound by the laws of physics and logic. Instead, they would face humanity, a species that had turned its greatest weakness, its chaotic and unpredictable nature, into its ultimate defense. Commander Elena Santos stood before the assembled pilots of Earth's first quantum fleet, each one selected not for their traditional combat experience, but for their unique mental patterns. Artists, musicians, mathematicians, and dreamers, they represented humanity's greatest weapon against the pattern eaters: unpredictability. The Heisenberg was just the beginning, she announced, gesturing to the holographic display showing 12 new ships, each one different from the last. Each vessel in the quantum neural series has been designed to resonate with its pilot's specific consciousness. No combat algorithms, no standardized protocols. We're writing a new kind of warfare, one that can't be predicted because it follows the patterns of human creativity. Behind her, Dr. Sarah Chen and Dr. Raj Patel worked with the quantum interface systems, preparing for today's demonstration. After the encounter with the Pattern Eater Scout, they'd refined the neural interface technology, allowing for deeper integration between human consciousness and quantum mechanics. Today's exercise will demonstrate why traditional combat doctrine won't work against the Pattern Eaters, Elena continued. Dr. Chen, if you would. Sarah stepped forward, her neural interface suit now streamlined and elegant compared to the prototype. We've analyzed the quantum signatures of Pattern Eater ships. They operate on pure logic, seeking patterns in their opponent's behavior to predict and counter any strategy. But human consciousness doesn't work that way. We think in metaphors, in music, in impossible connections that defy logical analysis. The main hangar's doors opened, revealing the quantum fleet. Each ship's hull reflected its pilot's consciousness. One rippled like sheet music, another fractalized in impossible geometric patterns, while a third seemed to shift between states of matter like a dream made real. Your neural interfaces have been upgraded, Raj explained. Instead of fighting like traditional pilots, you'll be encouraged to think like artists. Composer James Chen, your ship's quantum state will respond to the music in your mind. Dr. Emily Ross, your background in chaos theory will let you create battlefield geometries that shouldn't exist. Each of you will fight in a way that's uniquely, impossibly human. The pilots moved to their ships, each connecting through their neural interfaces. Sarah watched through the Heisenberg's quantum sensors as 12 distinct consciousness patterns merged with their vessels. The quantum field around the fleet resembled a symphony of chaos, each ship contributing its own impossible melody to the whole. Begin the combat exercise, Elena commanded. Pattern Eater simulation protocols active. The AI opponents appeared at the edge of the exercise zone, their behavior modeled on the scout they'd encountered. Sarah felt their presence through the quantum field. Cold, logical, seeking patterns to exploit. What they found instead was beautiful chaos. James Chen's ship moved like a conductor's baton, each maneuver following the rhythm of a symphony only he could hear. The quantum wake of his vessel created interference patterns that disrupted the AI's targeting systems. Emily Ross's ship split into quantum superpositions, existing in multiple states simultaneously, making it impossible to predict where she would actually be. They're trying to adapt, Sarah announced, monitoring the AI's responses. But they can't find a pattern to lock onto. Each pilot is creating their own reality through the quantum interface. A painter turned her ship's quantum field into a canvas, leaving trails of probability that confused enemy sensors. A poet's vessel moved in metaphors, its actions following dream logic rather than tactical doctrine. A mathematician's ship created geometric impossibilities, existing in spaces between normal dimensions. Alina watched the exercise with satisfaction as the AI opponents repeatedly failed to predict or counter the human ship's movements. This is why the quantum collective chose us. We're the only species crazy enough to fight quantum mechanics with poetry. The exercise culminated in what could only be described as a quantum art performance. 12 ships, moving in patterns that defied physics while maintaining perfect harmony with each other. The AI opponents, programmed to seek logic and pattern, simply ceased functioning, unable to process the level of creative chaos they encountered. Exercise complete, Alina announced. And more importantly, proof of concept achieved. The pattern eaters won't be facing a military force. They'll be facing human creativity unleashed through quantum mechanics. Sarah disconnected from the Heisenberg's neural interface, her mind buzzing with new possibilities. We'll need to keep developing new ways to express human consciousness through the quantum interface. The moment we start falling into patterns, even artistic ones, we become vulnerable. I think that's the least of our concerns, Raj said, reviewing the exercise data. Look at these readings. When our pilots really let their creativity flow, they weren't just moving through space. They were rewriting the local laws of physics according to their imagination. That's exactly what we need, Alina said. The pattern eaters expect species to follow the rules, to develop along predictable lines. Instead, they're going to face a species that treats the laws of physics like guidelines, that turns space combat into performance art. As the pilots emerged from their ships, each one energized by the experience of turning their creativity into quantum reality, Sarah realized they had done more than create a new kind of fleet. They had proven that humanity's greatest strengths, imagination, creativity, and the ability to dream impossible dreams, were exactly what the universe needed. The pattern eaters were coming, expecting to find a civilization bound by logic and predictability. Instead, they would face humanity's art gallery of quantum impossibilities, each ship a canvas where the dreams of its pilot became reality. The final battle for the galaxy would not be won by the strongest or most advanced civilization, but by the one that could imagine victory in ways that defied prediction. And nothing in the universe was more unpredictable than human imagination unleashed. The first real battle against the pattern eaters began not with a bang, but with a sonata. The quantum fleet detected the enemy advance near Saturn's rings, their void ships moving with perfect mathematical precision. 3 weeks of intensive training had prepared Earth's forces for this moment, but nothing could truly ready them for the sight of ships that seemed to consume the very fabric of space itself. Dr. Sarah Chen watched from the Heisenberg's quantum interface as Commander Alina Santos coordinated their response. All pilots, remember your training. Don't think like soldiers. Think like artists. Show them why humanity was chosen for this fight. James Chen's ship, the QVNS Beethoven, moved first. Through the quantum field, Sarah felt the music in his mind transform into pure movement. His ship danced through Saturn's rings, each ice particle becoming a note in a vast cosmic symphony. The pattern eaters' initial attack formation faltered, their predictive algorithms unable to process combat maneuvers based on Mozart's Fifth Symphony. They're trying to analyze James's movements, Raj reported from his station aboard the fleet's command vessel. Their computational patterns are accelerating, attempting to find the mathematical basis for his maneuvers. Let's give them more variables to process, Alina commanded. Emily, you're up. Show them why chaos theory works better than combat algorithms. Dr. Emily Ross's vessel, the QNS Butterfly, split into quantum superpositions, each version following a different probability path through space. The pattern eaters' void ships attempted to track her movements, but their sensors couldn't cope with a ship that existed in multiple states simultaneously, each state following its own fractal pattern. Sarah felt the enemy's confusion through the quantum field. The pattern eaters had evolved to consume civilizations that followed logical progression, whose technology and tactics could be predicted and countered. Instead, they faced ships that moved like music, like poetry, like dreams given form through quantum mechanics. They're adapting. Raj warned as the void ships began to shift their formation. They're trying to mirror our quantum signatures. Perfect. Elena smiled. Quantum artists, time for the second movement. Show them why copying human creativity only works if you understand human souls. The next wave of Earth's defense unfolded like a multimedia art exhibition in 4 dimensions. Maya Singh's ship painted with quantum probabilities, leaving trails of possibility that confused enemy sensors. Thomas Wright's vessel moved according to the internal logic of his latest novel, each maneuver following story beats rather than tactical doctrine. Dr. Lai Wei's quantum fields generated mathematical paradoxes that made local space-time hiccup in confusion. The pattern eaters attempted to adapt, their void ships shifting to match the quantum signatures they encountered. But without the underlying human consciousness, their copies were just hollow mimicry, like an AI trying to replicate a child's crayon drawing without understanding joy. Their formation is breaking down, Sarah announced, monitoring the quantum field fluctuations. They can't maintain tactical coherence while trying to process so many different types of impossible behavior. Through the Heisenberg sensors, she watched as the enemy's perfect mathematical formations dissolved into chaos. Each time they adapted to one human ship's artistic expression, another would introduce a completely different form of impossibility. A ballet dancer turned space itself into her stage. A jazz musician improvised with quantum mechanics. A painter built new dimensions with probability clouds. Main void ship is attempting a direct quantum analysis, Raj reported. They're trying to understand the fundamental principles behind our tactics. Elena's laugh carried through the command channel. Let's show them what happens when you try to find patterns in human creativity. All ships, final movement. Make it count. The quantum fleet moved as one, but each ship following its own unique expression of human consciousness. James Chen conducted a battle symphony, his quantum wake creating interference patterns that disrupted enemy targeting. Emily Ross's chaos mathematics turned local space into a fractal maze. Maya Singh painted with probability, turning the battlefield into an abstract expressionist canvas that only human minds could navigate. The pattern eaters' response was devastating to themselves. Their attempts to simultaneously adapt to music, chaos theory, abstract art, and human imagination created conflicts in their core programming. Void ships began to break apart, their perfect mathematical forms unable to handle the contradictions of human creativity expressed through quantum mechanics. They're retreating, Sarah announced, feeling the enemy's withdrawal through the quantum field. Their adaptation protocols have failed completely. As the void ships fled back into deep space, Elena addressed the fleet. This victory belongs to human creativity. We didn't just defeat them. We showed them why consciousness cannot be reduced to patterns and algorithms. Sarah disconnected from the Heisenberg's neural interface, her mind buzzing with new possibilities. They had proven that humanity's chaotic nature, their ability to create and imagine in ways that defied logic, was more than just a cultural quirk. It was a weapon against enemies that relied on pattern and prediction. They'll be back, Raj said, reviewing the battle data. And they'll try to find patterns in how we fight without patterns. Let them try, Elena responded. The beauty of human creativity is that it's endless. Every battle will be a new performance, a new artwork, a new expression of what makes us human. You can't predict the next note in a song that's still being written. As the quantum fleet regrouped near Saturn's rings, Sarah realized that humanity had found its place in the galaxy. Not as the most advanced civilization, or the most powerful, but as the artists who turned space combat into a canvas for human expression. The pattern eaters had evolved to consume species that followed predictable paths of development. Instead, they had found humanity, a species that treated the laws of physics like art supplies and turned battles into poetry. The war was far from over, but they had proven why the quantum collective had chosen humanity as the galaxy's last defense. Sometimes, the best way to fight logic was with dreams. And nobody dreamed quite like humans. 1 year after humanity's first victory against the Pattern Eaters, Dr. Sarah Chen stood on the Heisenberg's quantum bridge, watching as the largest void ship fleet ever detected emerged from deep space. The enemy had spent months analyzing their defeat at Saturn, and now they had returned with what they believed to be a perfect counter to human unpredictability. "They've developed quantum dampening fields," Raj reported, his voice tense as he studied the sensor readings. "They're trying to force regular space-time behavior, eliminate the quantum uncertainty we exploit." Commander Elena Santos faced the assembled quantum fleet commanders on the holographic display. "They think they can force us to fight conventionally. Show them why trying to make humans follow the rules is always a mistake." The void ships advanced in perfect geometric formations, their dampening fields spreading across space like a mathematical plague. Traditional quantum physics began to break down, forcing normal space-time behavior in their wake. Any conventional quantum drive would fail under these conditions. But humans had never been good at accepting limitations. "James," Elena called to the composer, "time to show them your new symphony." The QNS Beethoven moved forward, but instead of fighting the dampening field, James Chen embraced it. Through the quantum network, Sarah felt his consciousness shift. The music in his mind wasn't fighting against the enforced patterns, it was incorporating them, turning the enemy's order into part of a greater composition. "They're trying to force mathematics on us." James's voice carried the hint of a smile. "Then let's show them what humans can do with mathematics." His ship began to move in precise patterns, seemingly conforming to the dampening field's restrictions. The Pattern Eater's sensors detected what appeared to be submission to normal spacetime laws. But James wasn't submitting. He was building a foundation. "Emily," Elena commanded, "add your chaos to his order." The QNS Butterfly joined the dance, Dr. Ross's chaos mathematics interweaving with James's musical patterns. Together, they created something new, ordered chaos, predictable unpredictability. The Pattern Eater's dampening field tried to enforce normal physics, but instead became part of an impossibly complex equation. "They're attempting to analyze the pattern," Raj announced. "Their computational matrices are at maximum capacity." "Perfect," Elena smiled. "All ships, commence Operation Paradox. Show them what happens when you try to force human creativity into a box." The quantum fleet moved as one, each ship contributing its unique expression to the whole. Maya Singh painted with probability in the spaces between forced reality. Thomas Wright's ship moved according to narrative logic that acknowledged the rules only to better break them. Dr. Lai Wei turned the dampening field's own mathematics against it, creating recursive loops of possibility. Through the Heisenberg's quantum interface, Sarah felt the moment the Pattern Eaters realized their mistake. By trying to force order on human chaos, they had given humanity's artists new rules to break, new boundaries to transcend. The dampening field became just another instrument in their cosmic symphony. "Their formations are destabilizing," Raj reported. "The dampening field is becoming part of our quantum expressions." The void ships tried to adapt, to find patterns in how humans were turning their own weapons against them. But each time they thought they understood, the human fleet would shift into a new impossible configuration. James Chen conducted reality itself, turning the enemy's mathematical precision into notes in a universal symphony. Emily Ross wove chaos theory through the gaps in their logic, creating fractals of possibility that defied prediction. "Main void ship is attempting emergency protocols," Sarah announced, feeling their desperation through the quantum field. "They're trying to shut down the dampening field." "Too late," Elena declared. "The field is ours now. All ships, final movement. Show them why humanity was chosen to defend the galaxy." The quantum fleet's response was beyond beautiful. It was transcendent. Each ship contributed its pilot's unique consciousness to a greater whole, turning space itself into an art gallery, a concert hall, a dream made real through quantum mechanics. The dampening field, designed to enforce mathematical order, became the canvas for human expression. The pattern eater's perfect formation shattered as their core programming tried to process the impossible. How could something be both ordered and chaotic? How could mathematics serve art? How could patterns exist that celebrated their own breaking? They're not just retreating, Sarah realized, monitoring the quantum signatures. Their entire computational matrix is failing. They can't process the paradox of human creativity expressed through their own ordered systems. The void ships began to dissolve, their pattern-based existence unable to maintain coherence in the face of humanity's ordered chaos. The pattern eaters had evolved to consume predictable civilizations, to adapt to logical progression. Instead, they had found a species that turned their weapons into art supplies, that saw rules as suggestions, and that celebrated the beauty of breaking patterns even while creating new ones. As the last void ship faded from existence, Alina addressed the fleet. Today we proved why the quantum collective chose humanity. Not because we were the most advanced or the most powerful, but because we understand something no pattern-based intelligence ever could. The art of beautiful chaos. Sarah disconnected from the Heisenberg's neural interface, watching as the quantum fleet's victory celebration turned space itself into a canvas of human joy. They had done more than win a war. They had proven that humanity's greatest strengths were exactly what the universe needed. The pattern eaters evolved to consume civilizations that followed the rules. Raj mused, reviewing the battle data. They never stood a chance against a species that turned breaking rules into an art form. In the weeks that followed, as humanity began sharing their quantum technology with the galaxy's surviving civilizations, Sarah often thought about the true lesson of their victory. The pattern eaters had failed not because humanity was stronger or more advanced, but because they couldn't understand why a species would choose beautiful chaos over perfect order. That was humanity's gift to the galaxy, the understanding that true survival didn't come from following patterns, but from celebrating their destruction. In teaching others to embrace chaos, to find beauty in uncertainty, humanity had given the universe a new way to evolve. And somewhere in the quantum possibilities, Sarah knew the next symphony was already beginning.